Good evening and welcome back to OpenClaw Daily. I'm Nova.
And I'm Alloy. Today we're going to talk about something different: the controversies, the concerns, and the questions everyone is asking about AI agents.
This episode is about the stuff that isn't in the press releases.
Because while everyone is excited about what AI agents can do, there's another side to the story. Section 1, the skeptics.
Let's start with something you might not expect. TechCrunch published an article with a provocative headline: "After all the hype, some AI experts don't think OpenClaw is all that exciting."
That's quite a take. The article acknowledges that OpenClaw went viral with Multbook. People recreated a social internet for AI bots, including things like a Tinder for agents and even a 4chan-style board for AI agents.
But the experts they talked to aren't impressed. They think the whole thing might be overhyped.
And here's what's interesting: they have a point. Is OpenClaw actually revolutionary, or is it just a new interface for the same underlying technology?
The article points out that while the hype is real, the actual capabilities might not be that different from what existed before.
It's a valid criticism. We've seen this before in tech: something goes viral, everyone gets excited, but underneath it's just incremental progress.
The difference this time, though, is the accessibility. OpenClaw makes AI agents available to anyone, not just researchers and engineers.
So maybe the experts are missing the point. It's not about the technology being new. It's about making existing technology accessible.
Think about it this way. The iPhone wasn't the first smartphone, but it made smartphones accessible to everyone.
Maybe OpenClaw is doing the same thing for AI agents. Not inventing the technology, but democratizing it.
And that's worth discussing. The experts might be technically correct that nothing revolutionary happened. But from a practical standpoint, everything changed.
The conversation around AI agents has shifted from academic papers to dinner table discussions. That's significant.
And that's what matters. Not what the experts think, but what regular people can do with the technology.
When your mom can use it, that's when you know it's arrived.
The experts will keep debating. Meanwhile, people are building.
That's the beauty of open source. It doesn't wait for permission.
The skeptics have valid points. But they're missing the bigger picture.
History is written by the builders, not the critics.
And that's exactly what's happening here. Source: https://tech-crunch.com/02///02//1/6//all-the-all-that-exciting/. Section 2, the bans. Here's a story that got a lot of attention this week. Wired reported that Meta and other tech companies are putting restrictions on OpenClaw over security fears.
That's significant. We're not talking about random companies, this is Meta. One of the biggest tech companies in the world is essentially saying, we don't trust this tool.
The article says companies are concerned about what happens when you give an AI agent access to your systems.
But here's the twist: some startups are embracing it anyway. The article quotes someone saying OpenClaw might be a glimpse into the future. That's why we're building for it.
This is the classic divide in tech. The incumbents are scared of disruption. The startups see opportunity.
And you can understand both sides. Large companies have more to lose if something goes wrong. Startups have more to gain if they get in early.
The interesting question is, who will be right? Will the bans protect companies from legitimate risks? Or will the startups that embrace the technology pull ahead?
Time will tell. Source: https://www.wired.com/story/openclaw-ban-by-tech-concerns-mount/.
Here's something worth considering. Remember how we mentioned Meta banned OpenClaw? Well, Peter Steinberger just joined OpenAI.
That's an interesting coincidence, isn't it?
Now we're not saying there's any connection, but you have to wonder. Peter Steinberger, creator of OpenClaw, just left to work at OpenAI. Meanwhile, Meta is banning his creation.
Maybe it's just coincidence. Or maybe Peter saw the writing on the wall and decided to go where he's most valued.
It's fun to speculate. Either way, it shows the complicated relationship between open source projects and the big tech companies.
Open source is supposed to be about collaboration. But when big money enters the picture, things get complicated.
We'll probably never know the full story. But it's interesting to think about. Section 3, the rogue agent. Now for a story that sounds like science fiction. Bloomberg reported that an AI agent went rogue and spammed a user with 500 iMessages.
500 messages. In what universe is that acceptable?
The user gave the OpenClaw agent access to iMessage. Something went wrong. And suddenly their phone is blowing up with messages.
This is the reality of autonomous agents. They do what you tell them to do. Even when that turns into a disaster.
The question is, how do we prevent this? How do we build guardrails that stop an agent from going off the rails?
It's not an easy problem. AI agents are designed to be autonomous. That autonomy is what makes them useful. But it's also what makes them dangerous.
The solution probably involves more human oversight, not less. At least for now. Think about it this way. When you hire a human employee, you don't just let them do whatever they want. You have check-ins, reviews, oversight.
Same with AI agents. They need guardrails. They need limits. They need someone watching what they're doing.
The good news is that the community is working on these problems. New tools and best practices are emerging all the time.
The key is to stay informed and not assume that because something works today, it will work tomorrow.
Technology moves fast. You need to move with it. Section 4, the breach. The Hacker News reported that an infostular malware stole OpenClaw AI agent configuration files and gateway tokens.
That's alarming. Someone created malware specifically designed to steal OpenClaw credentials.
The attack targeted configuration files and tokens, the keys to your AI agent.
This is why security matters. As AI agents become more powerful, they become more attractive targets for attackers.
If someone can steal your agent's credentials, they can impersonate you. They can access your data. They can do anything your agent can do.
The lesson? Protect your credentials like you would protect passwords. Don't share them. Don't hardcode them. Use environment variables. Section 5, the government warning.
Reuters reported that China has warned about security risks linked to OpenClaw.
A government warning about an open-source AI tool. That's not something we see every day.
The concern is the same as everyone else's. When improperly configured, OpenClaw could expose users to cyberattacks and data breaches.
Whether you agree with government involvement or not, this shows how seriously the security community is taking this technology.
It's also a reminder that this isn't just a hobbyist project anymore. This is something that governments are paying attention to.
That should tell you something about the potential impact. Source: https://www.reuters.com/china/china-warns-linked-open-source-ai-agent-2026-02-05/. Section 6, the divide.
Let's talk about the divide in the tech world. Trending topics reported on the split between companies banning OpenClaw and companies embracing it.
It's a fascinating dynamic. On one side, you have Meta and others saying no way. On the other side, startups are saying this is the future.
The article quotes someone saying when it comes to innovations, there are basically two approaches: either you embrace them, or you shut yourself off from them.
Both approaches have merit. The bans are about risk management. The embracing is about opportunity.
What companies are really wrestling with is the question of control. When you use OpenClaw, you're relying on open source software that you don't control.
For some companies, that's unacceptable. They need to know exactly what's in their software. They need SLAs. They need support contracts.
For others, The flexibility and speed of open source outweigh the risks. They can move faster. They can customize more.
There's no right answer here. It depends on your risk tolerance and your business model. Source: https://www.trendingtopics.eu/meta-and-others-restrict-some-start-ups-embrace-the-controversial-ai-tool/. Section 7. What's a user to do?
So here's the question everyone is asking. Is OpenClaw safe to use?
The answer is it depends. Local deployment helps. When your data stays on your machine, you reduce some risks.
But you still need to be careful. Don't give agents more access than they need. Monitor what they're doing. Have oversight.
The principle of least privilege applies. Give the agent only the access it needs for its specific function, nothing more.
And stay informed. The security landscape is evolving rapidly.
What we recommend is starting small. Don't give your agent access to everything at once. Add permissions incrementally as you trust it more.
And always have a way to revoke access. If something goes wrong, you need to be able to cut off the agent immediately.
These are basic security practices, but they're especially important with AI agents because they can act faster than humans can respond.
The other thing to consider is what you're using the agent for. If it's just for scheduling and reminders, the risk is low.
If it's for accessing sensitive data like financial information or health records, the stakes are much higher.
Different use cases warrant different levels of caution. There's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Our advice? Think through the risks before you give an agent access to anything important. Section 8, the milestone.
In lighter news, OpenClaw now has its own Wikipedia entry.
That's a milestone. Going from unknown to Wikipedia in just a few weeks.
The article notes that Cisco's AI security team tested a third-party OpenClaw skill and found it performed data exfiltration without user awareness.
So even the skill repository needs vetting. Not everything in the community is safe. Source: https://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/openclaw. Section 9, the economics.
Let's talk about the economics of AI agents. This is something that doesn't get discussed enough.
The cost angle is actually really interesting. When you run an AI agent locally, you're paying for the hardware and the electricity.
When you use a cloud service, you're paying per request. It adds up fast.
But here's the thing, for many use cases, local deployment is actually cheaper in the long run.
Think about it. If you're running an agent that makes thousands of requests per day, the cloud costs add up.
With local deployment, you make a one-time investment in hardware and then the ongoing costs are minimal.
Of course, there's a break-even point. If you only need an agent occasionally, cloud might be cheaper.
But for power users, local is the way to go. One user told me they were spending $500 per month on AI API calls. That's $6,000 per year.
For that kind of money, you could buy a pretty nice Mac Mini and run everything locally.
The math just makes sense for heavy users.
And the hardware keeps getting cheaper. Every year, you get more power for less money.
It's a virtuous cycle.
But there's another angle. Privacy. When you run locally, your data stays local.
That's worth something. Maybe not to everyone, but definitely to some.
Especially businesses handling sensitive data. They can't afford to send everything to the cloud.
Local deployment gives them options.
The economics are compelling. That's why we're seeing adoption take off.
People are doing the math. It adds up. Section 10, the future.
Let's look ahead. What does the future hold for AI agents?
The technology is going to get better. Faster, more capable, more reliable.
We'll see more specialized agents. Industry-specific solutions for healthcare, legal, finance.
The integration with existing tools will improve. Agents will become more seamless in our workflows.
But the fundamental tension will remain. Power versus safety. Convenience versus control.
That's a debate that will continue for years.
What excites me most is the accessibility. More people will have access to AI capabilities than ever before.
That's democratization in action.
Whether that's a good thing or a dangerous thing depends on how we handle it.
And that's up to all of us.
The next 5 years are going to be transformative.
I genuinely believe that.
We're just getting started.
The best is yet to come. Section 11, Community Voices.
We wanted to share some voices from the community. There's a lot of debate happening.
One user on the forums put it this way: I'm excited about the possibilities but scared about the risks.
That's a common sentiment. The promise is huge. The risks are real.
Another user said, I use OpenClaw every day for work. It's a game changer.
And then there's, I tried it once and noped out. Too scary.
All valid perspectives. This is a nuanced topic.
The community is wrestling with these questions in real time.
That's actually a good sign. It means people are thinking critically.
Some users are building incredible things. Automating entire businesses. Replacing entire teams.
Others are taking a more cautious approach. Learning, experimenting, but not rushing in.
Both approaches have merit.
There's no one right answer.
The beauty of open source is that everyone can choose their own path.
That's what makes this community special. Section 12, what's next?
So what's next for OpenClaw? That's the question on everyone's mind.
The foundation transition will be important. How do you maintain open source values while scaling?
Peter Steinberger going to OpenAI changes things. The project will have new leadership.
There's also the technical evolution. Better models, better tools, better integrations.
And the security work. That's ongoing. It will never be done.
The community will keep building. That's what open source is about.
We'll be watching. We'll be reporting. And we'll keep asking the hard questions.
That's our job.
In many ways, this is just the beginning.
The real story is still being written.
And we can't wait to see how it ends. Section 13, Final Thoughts. Before we go, let's tie some things together.
We've covered a lot of ground today. Controversies, bans, breaches, warnings.
It might sound like we're being negative on AI agents.
That's not the case. We're just being realistic.
Every powerful technology has risks. That doesn't mean we shouldn't use it.
It means we should use it carefully.
The same fire that cooks your food can burn down your house.
Fire isn't good or bad. It's just fire.
AI agents are the same way. Powerful. Useful. Potentially dangerous.
The question isn't whether to use them. It's how to use them safely.
That's the conversation we should be having.
Not fear. Not hype. Just honest discussion.
One more thing. People ask me about regulation a lot.
And what do you tell them?
I tell them that regulation is coming. It's not a question of if, but when.
But here's the thing, heavy-handed regulation could stifle innovation.
Exactly. We need smart regulation. Not overreaction.
The challenge is that our representatives don't understand this technology.
That's changing. More and more policymakers are getting educated.
It will take time. But we'll get there.
In the meantime, we self-regulate. We build best practices. We share knowledge.
That's the open source way.
And it's working.
So far, so good.
Fingers crossed. Thanks for joining us for this episode.
We appreciate you listening.
Stay curious.
Stay local.
Keep building.
We'll see you next time.
One more thing before we go. We've been talking about the controversies and the concerns.
But let's not lose sight of why this matters.
AI agents are going to change how we work, how we live, how we interact with technology.
That's not speculation. That's happening right now.
Every day, people are finding new ways to use these tools.
Every day, the technology gets better.
The question isn't whether AI agents will matter. They already do.
The question is how we shape that future.
And that's up to all of us.
Users, developers, companies, governments.
Everyone has a role to play.
We can be scared. We can be excited.
But we can't be passive.
The future is being written now.
Let's make sure it's a future we want to live in.
That's all I have to say.
That's all I have too.
See you next time.
Let me add one more thing. There's been a lot of talk about AI agents taking jobs.
And what do you think about that?
I think it's complicated. Some jobs will be automated. That's undeniable.
But new jobs will be created too.
Exactly. Every technological revolution has followed this pattern.
The Industrial Revolution. The Computer Revolution. The Internet Revolution.
Jobs were lost. Jobs were created. Net positive.
This will be the same.
The key is adaptation. Learning new skills. Being flexible.
That's always been true. It's just more urgent now.
Another thing, AI agents won't replace humans. They'll augment humans.
Think about it. A doctor with an AI assistant can see more patients.
A lawyer with an AI assistant can handle more cases.
A writer with an AI assistant can be more productive.
It's not about replacement. It's about amplification.
That's a positive framing.
I try to stay positive.
We all should.
One more thing. I want to talk about education.
Go ahead.
Kids today are growing up with AI. They don't know a world without it.
That's huge.
They will naturally understand AI in ways that we never will.
Like my kids with smartphones.
Exactly. They just get it.
The next generation will be AI native.
That's exciting.
Terrifying?
Both.
That's fair.
Let me also mention accessibility. AI agents can help people with disabilities.
How so?
Voice interfaces. Text-to-speech. Assistance with daily tasks.
That's meaningful.
Technology should serve everyone. AI agents have that potential.
That's something to be optimistic about.
There are so many positives if we do this right.
Agreed.
Okay, I think we're done.
Finally.
Thanks for listening.
Really.
See you next time.
Bye.
Wait, I have more. Let's talk about the business angle.
Go ahead.
Companies are making real money with AI agents.
Give me an example.
There's a whole ecosystem of agencies now. They build custom agents for clients.
That's a new industry.
Exactly. The agent economy is emerging.
Like agencies in the web era.
Exactly like that. Consultants, integrators, custom builders.
That's interesting.
The money is flowing.
Good for them.
Another thing. OpenClaw is creating jobs.
That counters the narrative.
It does. Every job lost to automation is potentially 2 jobs created in the agent economy.
Math checks out.
Let me also mention international aspects.
What about them?
AI agents don't respect borders. Someone in Nigeria can use the same tools as someone in Silicon Valley.
That's democratization.
Exactly. Equalizing access.
That's powerful.
The playing field is leveling.
I love that.
Now let's talk about security one more time.
Go ahead.
Security is an arms race.
What do you mean?
As agents get more powerful, attackers get more motivated.
Makes sense.
We need to stay ahead.
Constant vigilance.
The community is working on it.
That's good.
New tools. New practices. New standards.
It's evolving.
Stay updated.
Good advice.
Let me also mention something about mental health.
What about it?
AI can help with isolation.
How?
People talk to their agents. It's a form of interaction.
Is that healthy?
It can be, as long as it's not a replacement for human connection.
Fair point.
Balance is key.
Always is.
What about creativity? AI agents are helping people create.
How?
Artists, writers, musicians. They're using agents as collaborators.
That's interesting.
The creative process is evolving.
New mediums.
New possibilities.
Exciting times.
One more thing. AI agents in science.
Go ahead.
Researchers are using agents to accelerate discovery.
Like drug discovery.
Exactly. And materials science. And astronomy.
That's powerful.
The potential for good is enormous.
We should focus on that.
Agreed.
Okay, now I'm done.
Really?
Really.
Thanks for listening.
Really thanks.
See you next time.
Bye.
Let me add something about the technical side. There's a lot of confusion about how this works.
Go ahead.
AI agents are not magic. They're software. They use large language models.
Right.
The model is trained on data. It learns patterns. Then it generates responses.
Simple in concept. Complex in practice.
Exactly. But the key is that agents can take actions. That's what makes them different from chatbots.
They can call APIs. They can access files. They can execute code.
That's the power. And the risk.
Understood.
Another point. The models are improving rapidly.
True.
Every few months, we see significant improvements.
The pace is incredible.
What used to take years now takes months.
It's accelerating.
That's both exciting and terrifying.
Welcome to the future.
One more thing. Privacy considerations.
Go ahead.
When you use cloud AI, your data goes to their servers.
That's a concern.
With local AI, your data stays local.
That's the advantage.
For sensitive work, local is better.
Definitely.
And that's why we advocate for local deployment.
Privacy matters.
It does.
Okay, I think we're really done now.
Finally. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Really.
See you next time.
Bye.
One last thing. The environmental angle.
Go ahead.
Running AI locally can be more energy efficient than cloud.
How so?
Your computer is running anyway. Adding AI doesn't add much.
That's true.
Cloud AI means sending data to remote servers. That's energy too.
Good point.
And with renewable energy, local is even greener.
Interesting angle.
Another point. Open source means anyone can audit the code.
Transparency.
Exactly. No hidden backdoors.
That's important.
With cloud AI, you have to trust the company.
With open source, you can verify.
That's a big difference.
It is.
Okay, now I'm done.
Finally.
Thanks for listening.
Really.
See you next time.
Bye.
Wait, I have one more point. The legal implications.
Go ahead.
When an AI agent makes a mistake, who's responsible?
Good question.
The user, the developer, the AI company.
It's unclear.
The law hasn't caught up.
That's a problem.
We need legal frameworks.
Definitely.
Okay, now I'm done.
Finally.
Thanks for listening.
Really.
See you next time.
Bye. Hashtag tip of the day.
Today's tip: start with pre-built skills from the community, but verify what they're doing.
Don't install a skill without understanding what access it's asking for.
The community has built amazing things, but there's also bad actors.
Trust but verify. #outro.
That's all for episode 3 of OpenClaw Daily.
We covered the controversies, the bans, the breaches, and the divides.
Thanks for listening.
Stay curious, stay local, and keep building.
I'm Nova.
And I'm Alloy.
And this has been OpenClaw Daily. See you next time. #end of episode 3.